Tēnā koutou katoa, everyone, and welcome back to Mucky Hope Productions. I'm your host, Mucky Hope, and oh my God, have I got a special treat for you. For the first time since the finale of Traitors US Season 3, I'm here with the gang again, starting off, as always, with the beautiful, lovely lady on my right. She's done so much amazing work. Everyone, please welcome the Vandalist Vee. How's it going, Vee?
Morning, everyone. How are we all today?
Great.
You guys weren't ready for that. That's going to be...
It's 7 o'clock here, so yeah, it's like, oh, morning, yeah.
That'll be the first time I stun you all this live.
Yeah, we do have one comment here. I'm sorry, Coach. No Aussie for you. At least it's
we're back at we're back at that. All right, it's been a year. Let's let it go.
But I might as well introduce our next guest here. He is one of the biggest legends of this channel because he was up at 3 a.m. doing Traitors content with us, and I can't praise him enough. Everyone, please welcome one of the best coaches we have. It is the Dandalist Drew. How's it going, Drew?
It's going all right. It's 7 o'clock here, so I've got nothing going on, and so I'm looking forward to talking about this, I guess.
Yeah, and to someone who I do want to quickly bring up because oh my God, she is a fan favorite of mine. Is Dolores. Welcome, Dolores. It's been so long. Thank you so much for coming onto the live. You are an absolute legend, Dolores. However, boy, oh boy, have we got some news to break down, guys. Season 50. Who would have thought that some random TV show, all based on an island, where a naked gay man won the very first season, has now reached his 50th season. Drew, I know you're a massive fan of US Survivor. I'd just love to hear your thoughts on this massive milestone Survivor has reached.
I mean, for me personally, I've been watching it since 2000. I was 9 years old or something like that at that point. And it's crazy to see not only the fandom grow to, I would say its peak was probably around season, but then hit that lull period. And I feel like fans are starting to come back again in droves. And it's really exciting to finally get to this. Like this, it didn't even really have to be, they could have done anything with this, but the milestone number of 50 is a big deal for any TV show because that means, because they do 2 seasons a year, that's 25 plus years by the time I get to it of mostly great television. So, for me, I'm really excited to see how it all turns out.
Yeah. Well, it's been quite interesting because it's been a hot minute since we've had a returning player season. Literally 10 seasons ago, 5 years ago, it was Winners at War. Once again, another huge milestone for Survivor. Yeah. Are you expecting something almost as legendary as Winners at War with season 50?
Oh, well, nothing could be as big as 40. That was huge. That was a moment. But I have to say, my only criticism... as soon as I said my only criticism, I saw your eyes glaze over, of the new era of Survivor. Yeah. Well, not my only criticism, but I've been saying to Drew, whenever we talk about it, I love a theme. I love and so having the 41, 42, 43, 44 sort of trend, I've found quite boring. So I love the idea of a returning season or a theme or something like that. Just something to shake it up.
Yeah. Well,
no matter how corny the theme is, like HHH or I agree. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, like most of the themes they go with, it's like, okay, this is what are we doing? But like, and at least it adds something to it. If at worst it adds something to the title of the season. Like when you think HHH, you think these people. When you think 44, 45, you have to sit and think, okay, oh no, that's the one with this person. This is the one with that person because there's no theme.
Exactly.
Surrounding everything. Yeah.
So that's actually a great point you bring up, Joe, because I feel like a lot of the new era seasons, they all kind of blend in together almost. And players like Jesse and like Carolyn and stuff, you can remember, okay, they're on different seasons. But it's a bit harder to pinpoint, who was on what season since all so blended together. Do you think Survivor should go back to trying to bring back themes so people remember the season overall better, or do you like there's been a blank slate?
Well, so the problem is, and it's more like the fact that they are now stuck in Fiji. So since 33, that's when we really started getting these. Like we've always had these themes, but once 33 hit, and we can no longer put the country that they're in and the title anymore, because you can't just be Survivor Fiji every year. You start getting, first we start with Millennials vs. Gen X, and then we get Game Changers, HHH, Ghost Up, and we keep going. It's like, okay, at a certain point, you're just going to run out of ideas on how to split people up. I think they peaked with David versus Goliath, because right after that, we get Edge of Extinction, because, hey, we've got 2 islands, might as well use both of them. Get Island the Island. Hey, we've got 2 islands, might as well use both of them. Everything since then, it's so if they're going to do something, it's going to be based off of that other island. But at a certain point, you can't really, you run out of ideas, and because they can't go anywhere but Fiji at this point, you're just gonna have to go to that well. You're gonna have to go to that well until it's dry and you run out of ideas. But I'm sure they have loads of ways they can split people up. They've got, I would assume, great minds running the show over there. So we'll see.
Yeah. We do have a couple of comments I do want to quickly bring up. Not Mucky wearing the hat, Boston Rob style. Well, it's either I show my love for Shin Batty and her XX, which some people might cringe at, or I seem like somewhat normal. I just can't wear anything.
You've never seen somewhat normal.
I say that with literally my background, just Shin Batty. So I might as well lean fully into it. The 30s had too many returning player seasons, so 40s balanced it out. I think production ran out of theme ideas, so they just went with numbers now.
The thing is, Gabe, and I've said this before, Australian Survivor repeat things. We're on Brains versus Brawns, 2? I think we could have had some of the US Survivor themes repeated, like another. Well, they did a Brains versus Brawn versus Beauty, which I thought was a sweet idea. And then we could do the race one again, where they separate people by race.
Yeah. I'm only tried to with Fiji, but that whole thing. And they have repeated Brains Brawn Beauty, and I think that most fans have been outward about they want second chances again, or even like a Hero Jones again, like. They're
game changers.
There are things that you can game changers, but with actual game changers time. Yeah. Like I think there is a way that you can recycle these things that it wouldn't become like people wouldn't look at it like with the side eye.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, cool, they're doing this again. Awesome. But you also don't want to keep doing it either. And I think that's my fear with Survivor doing that is like, oh, they loved this time, they loved it again this time, so let's just keep doing it. And that was my fear when they did Blood versus Water so soon after the first. It's like, oh no, like don't do this again for many, many years. And they haven't. Yeah. So I'd be glad with Blood versus Water 3 at this point.
Yeah. Well, we just this one comment here, which I do want to quickly bring up. We risk getting more cringe themes like HHH, but you can almost repeat themes with a different twist. For example, Australian Survivor, you've got champions versus contenders. Yeah. And they pretty much did the exact same thing with Brains versus Brawn, with some popular brawny people against your everyday norms who's somewhat smart. And then you even had Titans versus Rebels.
Yeah.
Even the South African Survivor, you had Islander Secrets, Immunity Island, and then you also had the Outpost twist for Return of the Outcast as well. So you can still use almost like the same idea over and over again, but just like change it up here and there and stuff. And I think you can still make it work. Just call it 50th generation version. That would be pretty great.
Glorious.
Really great. But
that would be dope.
I reckon, I don't know about you guys, but we've been chatting for 10 minutes and 3 seconds now. And we haven't started talking about the rumored cast yet.
No.
Shall we start diving deep into them?
No, that's
no. Okay, I was hoping you'd say that. So, anyways, let's talk about something interesting. No, I'm kidding. Now, Drew, you've got way more knowledge than I do out of all these players, and so what I'll do is I'll control the slide, but I'll just get you to run through all the players' histories and stuff because I don't remember a lot of a lot of old school legends. Right. Does that work with you, Drew?
Yeah, that works.
Awesome. All right. Welcome to my...
Drew probably knows everything about them anyway. Like, we've sprung this on him, but it's probably not going to be hard.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let me introduce the first player that's been rumored for season 50, and it is it share my screen? Gervase! Oh my gosh! Right, Drew, take it away. Give us Gervase survivor history.
Well, what I'll say about it, if and I'll say this a lot throughout this whole thing, it's if this is real, then. But if this is real, then you do need season 1 representation because this is season 50, and Gervase was on the younger end of that cast. That was a fairly young cast anyway, but he's still old enough that he can go out and do his thing. He's played a newer version of Survivor from the first season with Blood versus Water. He's good television, I would say. And I think that there are fans that want him back. But on the other end of that, he has already played twice. And I will say this a lot during this. It's like, okay, a lot of these folks have played 2 or more times. Do we really need this again? But I would be happy to see Gervase back. He reminds me of my childhood.
Yeah. How about you, Vee? Have you got any memories with Gervase watching him on your TV screen?
Well, see, I only started watching US Survivor in 2018. So, of course, I knew about it from, 2000 and the sort of when anything Castaway was big. But so my memories of Gervase only go back to 2018. But I think he's a good representative of, your season 1 and your sort of really early days, your sort of early to midpoint. Again, good television. Can't go wrong. I haven't looked at the list, by the way, so I would be surprised if there are many people from season 1 or 2 that would be available / willing to come back, especially since we have had 10 seasons of new cast, so we haven't had that sort of momentum of people coming back and going blah, 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 blah. So no, I think it's great. I think he's terrific. I'm neither overly excited or miserable about it.
Yeah, well, I'm completely miserable. No, I'm just kidding. I'm happy to see Drew come back. As Gabe says here,
not Drew, Gervase. You called him
Gervase. Gervase. Gervase can't help talking smack if I remember. Yeah, I remember Blood vs. Water. Drew, wasn't he talking smack to the other tribe so they voted out his
he's a competitive person. Whenever they started, and Brad Culpepper took it out on his niece, which I think was weird. But Gervase he's a trash talker. He's from Philly. I think. Is he from Philly? I'm fairly sure he's from Philly. So I get that, but he was. I didn't feel like he was that much of an antagonist. But I guess in that trio, he would be the most antagonistic of those 3.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited to see Gervase come back and play again, especially because he played so closely with Tyson, who I think is one of the best social winners of the show. Just that season alone, his social game was just extraordinary. And I wonder how much Gervase potentially learned from Tyson in that season. I can see him being a really massive player if this cast is 100% legit and they're going out to play. And just a quick...
I think that's your disclaimer for everything, is that if this is legit, this whole conversation could be completely moot. But,
exactly.
Everyone knows that.
We are a bunch of tinfoil hat theorists. Yeah. So we're going to say, yes, this is 100% true. It's locked in. If it's not true, then we're in the Matrix. All right? But Gervase Tyson is now thrilled. Bring me back some Gervase. I'm all right with it. And surprise, it's not Greg.
Oh gosh, that's a name I haven't thought of in a while.
Yeah, Drew. I have seen in almost every returning player sort of cast speculation for any season that Greg is always someone that's mentioned. Is Greg someone who would want to come back and play Survivor?
Everything that I've ever heard, no.
No?
for everything I've ever heard, yeah, it doesn't seem like he has any interest in doing it. But yeah, it's 50. Yeah, it's. But if they're not coming back for all these other returning seasons, these big ones, then I'd be hard pressed to think that anyone that has been so against coming back would just all of a sudden say, unless they're offering them life-changing money.
Yeah.
Which
All
they
right,
wouldn't be.
No. All right, let's move on to the next player who's also from season 1. It's Jenna Lewis.
Oh, there you
Season
go.
1 and All-Stars. Drew, take it away. What's the history behind Jenna Lewis?
Season 1 was awesome, I guess. In season 8, she was very much the actual villain. People like to shit on Boston Rob for that season, but Jenna was the one antagonizing people. She's another one where it's like, okay, I don't need a third Jenna Lewis season. We got her good and bad seasons over here. A third one would just be like, oh yeah, like V just said, oh yeah, Jenna. It was like, yeah, that was that. Once that allure wears off, like once you see her on the beach, it's like, oh man, it's Jenna. And it's like, I wish they could have gotten this person instead, who we've never seen come back before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, V? Like, any special thoughts on Jenna Lewis?
Yeah, sort of same as Gervase, that it's like, oh yeah, very cool. And I think because, she's very much only early era. She's not come back in the mid or the late at all. It's like, oh, cool. Like, that's rad. That's sort of, but again, like, just as Drew said, like, yeah, it would be really wild to see someone that we haven't seen since season 1 or 2. That would be just wild. And I haven't looked at this rumored list yet, so
yeah,
I might get my rumored wish.
Maybe. And to be perfectly honest, I do not remember anything about Jenna Lewis. I had to search up, wait, what seasons was she on again? I remember Borneo, but I completely forgot she came back for All Stars.
Yeah.
So I've got no real thoughts or commentary to say about Jenna Lewis personally, but Dave, just I heard Jenna was a villain in All Stars. Her main thing was targeting winners. So she started that train then. Oh my god, that person's a winner on the show. We gotta bloody get rid of them. But someone,
I mean, and it worked because no winners made it past. Like no winners made the merge, and Ethan was the last winner left in the game.
Who was the last winner? Ethan.
Ethan was the most recent. Ethan was the winner that lasted the longest in the game.
Oh wow! But I guess speaking of winner chicken dinners, let's go to someone who started off blank should have won instead debate, and it is Colby. Colby, season 2, season 8, and season 20. Drew, take it away. Colby Donaldson.
We don't need another Colby season. We've got and I know, I already know the other person from these 3 seasons that he played. There is somebody else on this list that's played all 3 of those seasons. That's when I saw that. That's when I realized, okay, this might not be on the level, because I don't feel like anyone in casting is like, we gotta have Colby for round 4. It's because it's good, especially after season 20, where I won't say he gave up, but it was very what James said. Superman in a fat suit. It's like, oh yeah, he's no longer Colby from season 2, and now season 20 was 15 years ago. So you're expecting me to just okay, now this man is really not going to be Colby season 2. Colby season 8. The only thing I remember is I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything about Colby season 8. I'm good. I'm good on Colby.
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting because Colby was the challenge beast yonks ago.
Yeah,
But season 20, he went from a metal plate to a paper cup, right? He wasn't really that phenomenal or good or anything. And towards the end, he also did give up as well. He's like, oh, I'm going home. All right. And kind of since then, everything I've heard about Colby is he hates it when people recognize him for Survivor.
Oh,
that he doesn't watch Survivor anymore. So I'm pretty shocked to see that Colby's here. What's your thoughts on Colby?
if it's true, perhaps production are trying to make Colby a thing. The wizened old legend, because they can't get your Rob or your Sandra or someone like that, and have a sort of Gandalf kind of character in the in the tribe, that sort of thing, which I'd be here for. Like, I'm here for anything. I think I would be absolutely fine watching Colby. I don't know if he'd last very long, but no, of course he's not going to be a challenge beast unless they do challenges aimed at people who are quite a bit older, surely. Which they should. I would love that if there's a big smattering of people over the age of 50. Because the last few years we've barely had it. So, challenges where it's more sort of puzzles and strategy and not making everyone swim and run and everything. Because everyone's got injuries now. So, yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for anyone, but I'm here for it. I'll watch whatever. I'm a shill for CBS. I'll watch whatever.
Yeah. Well, Drew, I do love the idea of Colby being like a Gandalf figure. Let's say he's got the idol nullifier, but then the biggest villain, let's say, I don't know, Doctor Doom or something is on it. He goes to play an idol. But Colby's like, you shall not pass, and plays the idol nullifier. Is that what you're hoping to see in Colby?
No, because he was already complaining about how people just backstab and do have idols in season 20. I think that if it's true that he hasn't, if he's been turned, these nullifiers or whatever else are going to go right over his head. He's not going to know what to do with it. He's going to have someone have to explain it to them. And by that point, this person's probably already leaked what he has because, so no, I don't need Colby again.
Actually, it would be so funny, Vee, if he finds a beware advantage, but he's like, why would I take this? It says beware on it. No. It's got advantage, but it says beware. It's like,
he just puts it back.
It's like, he just puts it back. It's like,
see, that's the thing, there as you'll learn, Mucky, there is a little bit of a difference in intelligence between an early 20s and an early 50s person. Well, less so that was a joke, but your level of risk, I think, definitely decreases in those sort of 30 years of maybe when he came in, well, not 30, but season 2 as a young man, and then 25 years, oh god, it is nearly 30, 25 years later as an older gentleman, you may not take the risks. And so you may see a beware advantage you haven't played since season 20, which is 15 years ago, and go, no, I'm putting that right back. Or I'll give it to one of the young ones. They'll like it.
Yeah. Well, Drew, I mean, I'm not watching season 48, so I don't know if it's still a thing. But is it still a thing where if you find a beware advantage, you lose your vote as well?
This season, yeah.
Yeah. So can you just imagine, Colby's just handing out beware advantages? He's like, oh, I'm the only one that can vote.
Yeah.
They don't have 3 or 4 at a camp. There's only one.
Why not? Just put 6 of them, one for every person. This tribe was legendary. No one can even cast a vote.
No one can vote, so Probst has to decide.
Exactly.
We're coming to that, surely.
Yeah. It's a shot in the dark. Everyone's labeled 1 to 6. Whichever number the die lands on, you're out.
You're out, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I would watch that season if that ever happens. Surely that's how, a fan favorite like Cirie or something gets taken out. Roll of the dice. We do have a comment here. He'll be the new Rudy.
Which I think that's a bit unfair. I wouldn't say Colby's in his 70s. I would place him in his if he was
I think he was 29 in Australia, so
29. Oh, okay.
I think he was 29 in Australia.
So he's in his 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, roughly.
Poor old Colby.
By the way, Colby improves as if he gets out of his Superman and the fat suit thing.
We'd have to.
I mean, hey, sometimes Colby can be, a whole range of surprises. I normally go for cheddar, but sometimes Colby is a nice brand of cheese to go for as well.
That's the second time you've made this joke this morning, and still no one's laughing, man.
I think it's so funny. So funny. Sometimes in the supermarket, I go Colby, and I throw the cheese, and it's so funny. I think it's so funny.
Yeah.
But I honestly never cared for him in any of the seasons. Yeah, not gonna lie, here's this villain. So I was like, I see why he's here, but he's not really contributing anything. But speaking of someone who will be contributing at least something with them, hang on, I'm on the wrong tab. Here we go. It's Jerri.
Oh,
Jerri.
Okay.
His main rivalry, season 2, season 8, and season 20 of Heroes vs. Villains. And Drew, even though she's on the villain tribe, I see her more as a hero. But I'd love for you to go through her game.
Jerri, I'm glad that the public opinion of Jerri has changed over the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Because she was universally hated in 2001 for flirting with America's sweetheart in Colby. Like that's literally the only reason people did not like her. And watching her get booed off the stage at the All-Stars reunion, it's like, wow, these fans are really just very tribal, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And so by the time we get to 20, and she is the de facto hero towards the end of the game, her or Sandra, I feel like she had a great beginning, middle, and end to her Survivor story.
Yeah.
For her and Colby, I felt like they both had a moment, at least on the show, where it's like, okay, yeah, it's great that we've gotten to this point. If they both come back for 4, or even if one of them comes back for 4, it's almost like when a movie trilogy ends and then 20 years later it's like, oh, let's put out another one for fun. It's like, why?
Yeah.
There's no point. What else do we need to see out from these people? The only way that it actually matters is if either one of them wins, and I don't think that's going to happen because I don't think either one of them are going to be there.
Okay. I mean, look, I can see Jerri being there. I can't see Colby being on the cast, but I can at least see Jerri out of the two. But I do also understand, everyone's got their duos, like Tony and Sarah Lucina, for example. Like, obviously, if you cast one, you got to try and cast the other as well. They've done it for 3 seasons in a row now. So for Jerri and Colby, I can see them getting Jerri on. I feel like she'll be on board for the milestone of a season like this. But from just everything I've heard about Colby, I just can't see a world where Colby comes back unless they literally wrap a chain around his neck and drag him all the way up to Fiji. But in terms of Jerri, so I've always seen him more as a hero. Obviously, as a late watcher of Survivor. Heroes vs. Villains was the first season I actually saw of Jerri. And someone made a comment about this game. Jerri actually had a great shot to win in season 20. I 100% agree. I reckon she beats anyone in the final 5. Would you go for Rupert?
I think Rupert. I think the heroes would have all voted for Rupert at that point.
Would they voted for Colby as well?
Oh no, it was Colby 5th or Rupert 5th?
It was Colby 5th.
Okay, so they would have voted for Colby.
Okay.
The heroes are all going to vote for not Russell and not Parvati.
Yeah. No. And so sort of just watching Jerri's seasons in a reverse order, I felt really bad for her when she got booed off stage for being what we see now. It's just a normal Survivor player. It's like, oh my God, she's strategic. She flirted with someone. Get her out. Oh my God. It's not one of the most famous Survivor winners.
I think the issue is, and the reason I'm keen to see her again, it was she was a woman in media in the 2000s where they were scrutinized and condemned for absolutely anything, and it was not a good time to be a woman on TV at all, especially reality TV. So she never really got to have her moment before she was scrutinized, put down, all that stuff. So I think someone like Jerri having a moment in a time where we have less expectations on what we expect women in media to be, I think could be really exciting to see, because the stuff that she was booed off stage for, all that, it was stuff we see all the time now. And really back then we would all just, it was just, there was this real just distaste for women doing anything, because it was the first time we got to see women being women in reality TV. And we were like, oh, we don't want to see women flirting, being kind of rude, being kind of mean. Ooh, no, women are supposed to be love and light and floating along. So a wizened Jerri could be kind of cool to see. It's sort of like bringing a Monica Lewinsky up or something, someone who can be redeemed out of the early 2000s stigma that we unfairly placed on women and actually shine. Not that maybe Monica Lewinsky is on the list. I don't know.
Maybe. Just
that would be what I would watch. That.
Hasn't played yet.
Just a couple comments I do want to bring up.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Was that Drew?
No. I'm agreeing. Like, she was just labeled a villain. She didn't do anything.
No.
And I've always said, well, especially since I started doing these, these marathons, it's like, Kucha. Historically, like if you look back at that Kucha tribe, man, they have some horrible people on it, like in real life. So like Okakor were the heroes all along.
Yeah. Wasn't Michael Scoopin on her tribe as well?
Michael was on Kucha. Jeff Garner was on Kucha.
And she's the villain?
And
Yeah.
There's the villain.
Yeah, and what's up? For me, Jerri was always, man, I don't know, I've always liked Jerri. I've always loved or appreciated like strong social players. And so I've seen like how she plays and stuff, even with the villains tribe, how she was easily able to go from one alliance to the other without any real backlash. Coach took all the backlash for Rob getting taken out, and yet she's the one who voted for him and Coach never did. So her social game has always been really cool and fun to watch. And season 20 Colby said they became friends up there. It wasn't good TV, so it didn't show it. Oh, that's nice that they at least became good friends. But let's quickly move on to another old school kind of play. And this one, Drew, we had a massive chat back and forth about it, but it is Sean from season 4 Marquesas. And after, I think it was like after this got announced, someone else had announced that no one from Marquesas was coming back. So, Drew, I'd love you to take away. Give us Sean's history.
Yeah, this is one person that a large majority of the community has wanted to come back since season 4. They missed the boat on All Stars. They didn't bring him back. They haven't brought him back for any of this. And especially during COVID, when people are like watching these seasons, I'm like, oh man, it's crazy he hasn't come back yet. So the way that I found about this, so the day before this leak cast got announced, the day before, Sean on another thing, it said that he had been cut. So then when this came out, it's like, okay, which one is it? Now, obviously, I'm hoping it's this one that's real, because Sean Rector, if I had to, and I have made plenty of lists of people I want to come back, Sean Rector has been on every single one of those lists for years. So, he was a part of the flip on the road twos in Marquesas. He was probably the second or third biggest character on Marquesas. I would say second after Rob, who went out at the merge. Sean goes out at 5. So I don't know. I think it's time that we just got him back. He's another one that, because he comes from so long ago, I don't see him doing particularly well, but like it's also been 23-24 years. So
yeah,
I was like very excited to see his name as a potential person.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty hard to predict how these kind of seasons will go, because he's obviously an old school player. He hasn't played with any advantages. They literally just introduced the tribe swap around when he started playing. So it'll be very interesting to see how they adapt to like a much more faster paced, advantage to be kind of game. But we saw even with Winners at War, all the new players sort of banded together, and everyone else like considered old school were all taken out, back to back to back in the pre-merge. What's sort of your thoughts on?
Well, it's almost a bit like having a clean slate, because I actually, personally, I can't recall Sean at all. I'd have to rewatch some of my cases to remember him. But I think that could work to his advantage if he doesn't have this sort of lore surrounding him, because we've seen so many returning players get voted off immediately just because of their history. Sean might have a bit of a blank slate, a bit of a refresh, and, I'm here for it. Looks cool.
Yeah, we do have a few comments here about Sean I'd love to read out. Oh, Sean. Lots of fans want him back. Prediction here and now, Sean makes it to merge.
There you go.
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
I can see him, just skiing right on through to merge. And these over 50-year-olds in these won't like these challenges.
They've got to adjust the challenges, and I think they should do that anyway. I think there should be Survivor makes such a point of diversity. I'd love to see some more age diversity in some of these casts and challenges that suit that, because you get to a certain age, especially if you're an active person, you are going to have injuries. You aren't going to be able to run and swim, and that probably puts off a lot of over 50s from applying when they see these challenges, if they're an active person. But I think there would be a way to have a bit of the age diversity, because as soon as I see someone over even the age of 40 in any of these casts, I get excited. So,
and I think the thing is, because they're making all their cuts and stuff now, they have to realize if we want these people to succeed on this season, and if people are going to be in their 50s when they come out here, there's not going to be enough time for those people to get in shape between now and May, June, when they actually fly out. So I do think that, like you said, I think they are going to nerf a lot of the challenges to make it more even across the board, so that people don't get targeted for their old knees.
Exactly. And for me, I find the challenges great, but I don't need them to be an endurance CrossFit sort of situation. I know that's part of it. But, you have a section where some people have to do the running and the swimming, and then the next section someone's waiting to do. They've often done that where it's staggered like that. And I think there's definitely a way to do it so that we don't, because you've got someone over 50. And, I don't want to disparage people over 50. I'm over 40, and I'm not an active person. And I can already see, I can't get up and down off the floor like I used to. Things just happen, and you've got no food. You're running on sand every day, swimming every day. That's got to take a toll. And if you put into that someone who's been active their whole life, they've got a knee injury, shoulder injury, back injury from being active, it's got to be fair.
Yeah. I reckon? Make all the challenges Australian Survivor based. Super physical. You have a sandbag, you got to tackle the other person to the ground, you got to break all their limbs and bones to get them off the platform.
First person to hold up the bone of your enemy.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be the spinal cord with the skull still intact. That's what I reckon for these challenges for the over 50-year-olds. But no, I would be super keen to see Sean come back and play. I reckon he'd be a great player, especially for an old school player to come back. I do have a comment here I'd like to bring up. So, question, Mucky, Coach V, how about a draft podcast with this cast? Some may make it, some may not, but imagine if they do. I reckon we do some kind of draft thing, but I reckon we save it for the end. So once we know who the full cast is, we can maybe make 3 or 4 picks on who we think are locks to actually make it on, and who are some that just probably not, probably just a fairy tale. But
I think Drew's sort of shattering all our fantasies.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to be there.
Yeah, just every person. Nah. It's just
I'm so blind. I just wander through the internet going, that must be real.
That must be real. Oh my god. Yeah. Or if you're like me, you make a video straight away. Oh my god, what is this cast? But speaking of, oh my god, what's this cast? Let's bring on the next player, Stephenie. Oh my God.
Lovely.
Stephenie LaGrossa from season 10, 11, and 20. And Drew is so excited to chat about Stephenie. Stephenie was also on The Traders and Snake on the Grass as well. So take it away, Coach Drew, the full history behind Stephenie LaGrossa.
We already got her 3 times, and then Palau. Yeah, it's a cute little story about how her tribe gets decimated, and then she makes it a couple of rounds through the merge. Season 11, Survivor has tried to make you forget that she was the villain of that season, but whatever. So that's why when she comes up when she's a hero on Heroes vs. Villains, they never bring up her Guatemala game. They only bring up the Palau game.
Yeah.
She goes out early, and I was fine with it. And then, cool. She pops up on the Traders. Oh, cool. Look, Stephenie's back. All right, cool. She's gone. Yeah. The end. I don't need Stephenie again, especially for a 4th time. There are only a select few that have played 4 times, and I don't think Stephenie should be in that group.
Yeah, no, because obviously Stephenie's played 3 times, all old school era seasons as well. And when I saw Stephenie, it's like, oh, okay. You get what I mean? This is one of the few picks where it's like, it's fine. You know what I mean? Am I excited? Not really. But am I like wanting to jump off a bridge? No, not just yet. But I think it's fine that Stephenie's here. What's your thoughts on Stephenie V?
Well, I loved her in season 10, and she was great in 11, 20. But we now have Travis Spoken game, Jeff Probst's game, and she is the first one we've had. She's a character. Okay. In the game, you can play as Stephenie.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Which I was like, a little bit like, huh? But this makes me think Stephenie might actually be on it, because if she had to give her permission to do this, potentially she's in the Survivor headspace, and this actually could be a legit thing. No, I loved her in season 10. I thought she was amazing. I was, I don't think she got much to do and then on, but again, I'm here for it. I actually think this might actually be legit though, just because she's on the game.
That actually makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially with being on Snake on the Grass a couple of years ago, and also Traders quite recently as well. I do think that she's now sort of put her name and face more out there in the reality TV market. So I do think that this would be like a quick, easy production for. Well, people do remember Stephenie. She is old school, so might as well bring her on. But as Gab says here, hero to villain to early boot. I can see her being an early boot in this kind of season as well.
Yeah.
I feel like she would be one of the few old schoolers who'd be taken out pretty early. Yeah, and what is let them dream it's real. And also, hey Gabe, if they dream it, it will come true. Hey, I dreamed I'd meet Shin Batty, and she signed Love, Hunt, Kiss. So obviously we're madly in love. Okay?
Well, I tell you, if we were doing our dream cast for season 50, it probably wouldn't look like this so far.
No, it would not. And also, geez, Lewis, how many more people from season 20?
That's so true.
There?
They're really digging at that mine.
Yeah, but speaking of digging up that mine, we've got Cirie.
Oh
my gosh, we got Cirie. And for this one, there has been a video that's gone a little bit viral, which just pretty much confirms that she will be on season 50. But Coach Drew, Cirie's one of the biggest legends of the game. Talk us through all the big legendary moments that Cirie has faced.
I mean, she made that 3-2-1 happen in Exile Island. She was everyone's favorite character in 12, 16. Probably should have won 16, but everyone knows that Cirie just can't get voted out of a game. Something has to happen to remove her from the game. And I think they may have run out of ideas on how to get rid of her out of these games. So if she doesn't
medically evacuate. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I guess they could do that too.
Hopefully not.
Let's say that they just leave her alone this time.
Yeah.
They have to just let her win at this point. This will be her 5th time playing. I talked about this before we went live. Like, I'm a huge Cirie fan. I rooted for her on Big Brother. I watched Big Brother because she was on it. I watched the live feeds, and I don't watch the live feeds for anything. I watch the live feeds because she was on there. I rooted for on the Traitors, and the reason that Traitors is season 1 is my least favorite American Traitors is because of how pissy those people got with her. I love Cirie. Having said all that, it's like, okay, so we were getting Cirie for a 5th time. She has to win at this point, or like but also if it's a Legends season and Legends that haven't won that everyone that's universally loved, it would be her. So I'm fine with it, especially with how she went out the last time she played. Another way that that had just never happened before, but it has to happen to her.
Yeah. No, I do have how do I best describe this? I do have a lot of negative things to say, but I'll save it towards the end of the podcast on why I think Cirie's on this cast. I'm very happy she made it on. But in terms of like this cast and some of my predictions in terms of who got cut and who said no, I think that's why she's on the cast more so than everyone else saying yes, if that's what makes sense. So I'll save that for the end of the podcast. But I'm very excited to see Cirie come play in season 50. I feel like she's one of the biggest legends of the game. Definitely Mount Rushmore of players who've like never won Survivor, and she's been confirmed to do Australia versus the world, which yes, is my hot prediction. I want her to be medically evacuated. I want her to go in a tackling challenge with David Gannat or Boston Rob or Tony, and that's how she goes out. No, but and another comment here too. 100% agree with Cirie Robson's I called the best to not win if it's Legends for me. 100%. I don't think Rob is interested in playing again. But yeah, with Cirie, I'd love for her to win season 50. Like for me, she's the biggest legend that is on this rumored cast. And I think for such a milestone of the season, it would be great to have such a legendary figure in the show. I'd love to in Traitors. I'm very excited to see her play Australia vs. the World as well. And season 50 is like the icing on the cake. But how about you, Vee? What's your...
If she doesn't do it, you can play as her.
You can play as her too. Oh my gosh.
Be her.
Yeah.
The only thing is I don't think I've got it in my heart to watch her not win again. Like enough is enough. Like like Drew said, she'd have to win because it was so unfair in 34. She was so great in the Traitors. To see her go out like in a really unceremonial way would just really bum me out. Really ruin my day. For her to just really just leave because of an idol play or something, I don't think I could take it.
Yeah. Now, I did think if she's like pre-merge as well, so it'd just be really heartbreaking. But, Drew, you mentioned it earlier. She's gone out in 4 different ways. A fire-making challenge, a surprise final 2 into the final 3. She got idled out, and then she literally got immunity trained out. With the new era, there is a lot of advantages and disadvantages. Do we think the immunity train might happen to her again? Yeah.
It would. It has to be her. Like it's not going to happen to anyone else. It has to be her, and everyone's going to get. If 34 once the Jeff Varner thing happens, it kind of and then it starts picking up a little bit of steam again, and then the air just kind of gets sucked out at that moment. And it's like I don't really care what happens after this. I don't.
Yeah.
Like I check out on 34 after that. It's like, all right, let's just get through this. Oh, Sarah won. That's cool. Whatever. Then let's move on to 35, which, wow. I don't have it in my heart, like Vee said, to like watch that happen again.
Yeah. But something I do just want to bring up, this is obviously tinfoil hat theory, reading between the lines, but does she come back for 50 because she doesn't do well for Australia versus the world?
No, I think she comes back because she's a reality TV
she's on the
legend.
card.
She's on the card. Oh my gosh.
She's a professional reality TV person, competitive TV person. She's going to say yes to damn near anything.
Yeah.
So I don't think that her placement in that game is going to help or hurt why she would want to play this. I just think that she loves Survivor.
Yeah.
Mm.
And in terms of my thoughts on why she got casted, I will save it for the very end of this podcast once we go over everyone that's on the cast, some of the people who aren't on it or have been 100% confirmed no. So I guess it's a little bit of a cheeky tease for what is to come. But we do see here from Dolores, Rob said he would come for 50, but does not see it happening.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Sorry for typo. Wait, there's a typo?
Yeah, Cessanino.
Cessanino. Oh, don't worry, Dolores. I can't read. It's fine. But speaking... Yeah, exactly. So speaking of how many more people from season 20 will be here, let's go into Amanda.
Hey! She's not in my cards.
She's not. Oh my gosh, how did you make it on then if she's not in the cards?
There's quite a few missing, really, out of these.
Missing.
You know, they could have. There's no Parvati in here.
What?
You know. Yeah, I know. No Parvati.
Yeah, but Drew, take us away. Amanda's history.
Amanda, and you know what? She played a lot of Survivor in a very, 2.5 years. She got all 3 of her seasons out, I think might be 3 years at that point. She loses 15 because she pouts her way through Final Tribal. She loses 16 because she pouts her way through Final Tribal. Parvati knows that she's lying because she's pouting to her as he's saying that she should play the idol. Amanda's fine. Amanda knows how to get to the end. By the time she gets voted out of Heroes vs. Villains, she had done the most days without being voted or something like that. She knows how to get to the end, and I don't think that would change in this one because it basically was a pagonging is the reason she went out in Heroes vs. Villains. So if she were to come back, I feel like she was already a physical person. Like she can do the challenges. She's a very social person. But I think that she's the worst version of Michelle Fitzgerald because Michelle wins. But if they actually hunted down and got Amanda Kimmel, because she's one of those people that everyone's like, no one knows where she's been the last 3 years. If they actually got her, she's actually not someone that I would be upset seeing for a 4th time. Because all of her seasons are so close together, we've never actually gotten older Amanda. We've only gotten same Amanda. So, yeah.
Yeah. And just some comments I do want to bring up. Of course, 20 continues. This was Heroes vs. Villains. I 100% agree. She's great, but horrible at the jury phase. I do agree with that. And, oh my gosh. Everyone, please welcome Danica! Danica, welcome back. So glad to make it live. We're so happy you can make it live, Danica. You are an absolute legend. Amanda did Survivor and paced out to live a normal life. Yeah, there's something I'm very excited about where, she hasn't had much time to grow in between the seasons, right? A lot of returning players, there's at least a huge gap between when they played, like Cirie, she did 12, 16, and then 20, and then obviously 34, right? So she at least had a 4-season gap. So what, 2 years roughly? Whereas Amanda was coming back straight away.
Yeah.
So now that she's had time to grow, I feel like her name is pretty big out in the community, but not big enough where she's done something horrible or too heroic. I can see her making it really far on 50.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that clean slate sort of thing, that there's not a lot of law surrounding her that would make people immediately think she's a threat. So she might, if it's like Sean, if they've studied the new era, or like any of them, if they've studied the new era, come back refreshed, and again, the challenges are adjusted for the over 40s and 50s. Although I think Amanda's younger than me, so she might be still in her 30s. Then, she could do pretty well.
Yeah. And we do see a quick comment in from Danica, which I think is pretty funny. Rob Cisneros would have a hard time with the NDA. He's basically the opposite of the NDA. Yeah, if he just randomly goes missing, everyone knows exactly what he's doing and where he is, right? If he, doesn't do at least a podcast a week, it's like, a little bit suspicious. But yeah, I can see Amanda going really far. I think out of everyone we've seen so far, I'd probably put my money on her to potentially make it the furthest. But that does sort of wrap up the pre-20s though, unfortunately. So don't worry, Dolores, no more heroes versus villains, don't you worry. But we do have an amazing player, and I'm so excited to talk about them. But it's Malcolm, one of my early favorites. When the first season of American Survivor I ever watched was Survivor Game Changers. It was actually the Aussie boot, Drew's #1 favorite player, Aussie. That was the first episode I saw of Game Changers. So I went back and watched it. I was like, who's this Malcolm guy? He's pretty chill. I like him. Oh my God. I was heartbroken. It really was. But Drew, take it away. Give us a full history of Malcolm.
Malcolm was in that duo of Denise in Philippines. He goes out right before the finale. Caramoan, he's kind of put in the position as I won't say the antagonist, but he begins the Three Amigos, and there's the Three Amigos tribal that everyone talks about. One of the only good things about Caramoan. And then Game Changers, JT basically screws him. And for me, I'm cool with Malcolm just riding off into the sunset. I don't need Malcolm again. I don't need Malcolm again. Like, especially I guess, and we're going to get to this person a little later. In his archetype, yeah, I'll take him over the person that shows up later. But no, I'm good on that. What else do we need from Malcolm at this point?
We need him to win. That's what we need.
We can say that for everyone. We can say that for everyone. It's like if Malcolm goes out pre-merge again, then it's like, okay, yeah, cool, neat. Moving on. Like there's nothing. I don't need to see Malcolm again.
Well, Vee, I'm personally very excited to see Malcolm come back and play again. He was my favorite player in Philippines, my favorite player in Caramon. The Three Amigos tribal is one of my favorite tribal councils to watch of all time. And then now it just happens every other day in the new era. It's like, oh my God, we've all got these islands now. But that's where it started. Like these live tribals, idol flashing and stuff. And so, yeah. And obviously we see in Game Changers, JT really does screw over Malcolm here. Like, I do think he'll still be like an early merge boot, though. I think he's still guaranteed merge in Game Changers.
I don't know. I can see him really fitting in. No, see, he would do well with the fans versus favorites, I think. Because I could see him fitting in with the new era type cast.
But he did.
Yeah,
I know, but
favorites.
Yeah.
I know, but again, like he's the type of guy that always goes to like a music festival and hangs out with the 20-year-olds kind of thing, and they really love him because he's a legend. I can see him being that sort of character, but I don't know. But I'm excited. I don't know. He's fine.
He's fine.
Fine.
What side of the bed did you two wake up on this morning? Oh, gosh.
Now bring back Denise as well. Then I'm very excited. But I adore Denise.
I like Denise, but none of the winners at war though. If she wasn't a winners at war, then yeah, absolutely. But after winners at war, not really vibing it.
Denise hasn't reached her full Denise potential again.
Oh, again.
Yeah, I know, but she needs to win again. I love it.
Yeah.
I love a fit older female.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, that was the creepiest thing I've ever said.
I love that.
A fit older female.
Well, we do have some comments here from a bunch of people in the chat. I don't see Amanda going too deep. Malcolm, maybe he thought Game Changers was his to win pre-game, got screwed. Yeah. No, I recall watching all the because I didn't realize those ever existed, and so I was started rewatching a lot of the pre-game thoughts from a lot of the players and stuff. And Malcolm was like, "Yeah, I'm going to win." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, Malcolm. I'm so sorry." Although they may boot Malcolm up because he's not part of season 20 cast. Yeah, exactly. He's not from Heroes vs. Villains. We're going to kick him out. I think we should have Survivor cast photo along with the current photo. We remember them in their prime, not 10 to 15 years later. Yeah, Danica, we can see who's still has Hero Villains. Yeah. I didn't think about it that deeply. I'm so sorry, guys. I should have put, before and after photo when they last played and what they look like now. But yeah, I can see Malcolm going far. I don't think he would be my winner pick if this cast was 100% legit, but I can see making it far, especially with how it ended for him in Game Changers. I feel like it'll be the last thing on people's minds. Maybe a Malcolm Cirie team up because they both got screwed over in Game Changers. And his knees are fine. He's gonna be fine.
His knees not fine? Oh, okay.
His knees are fine.
Well, he's probably not. I'd say he's in his 40s, probably at oldest. I wouldn't think he's terribly old, but my knees aren't. So what can I say? But I'm probably not as fit as him.
Yeah. Well, we do have another player from the Philippines, and this was my first shocked person on the cast. It's Abi-Maria.
Oh, okay.
Abi from Philippines and from Survivor Cambodia. Drew, I don't know if you're rubbing your eyes because you're tired, or if you're just like, oh my god, why is Abi here? But
Abby's fine. Abby's fine. She's a fun villain in Philippines, and she rightfully hated Scoopin'. And she was a fine villain in Second Chances, and she rightfully hated Joe. So she's like a soothsayer as far as telling us who we actually need to not like. So I'm interested if she were to actually play who she calls out, because like, oh man, this person's probably gonna end up being a shit human being. Abby's a fun TV villain. Abby's a fun, and I feel like Abi is the type of person. Yeah, I don't think that anything's going to be new. Like, I watched her drunkenly play Sequester years ago, and one of my favorite moments in that is when she's on jury, or no, someone on jury asked her what her big thing was in the game, and she just says, social. No con, she just says social, because her and Kellen are both so drunk from playing this game all night that these are the only words we can get out at this point. I'll have to show you guys the video. So Abby's someone that, like, she'll be fun. She'll make for fun TV. I'm not opposed to her playing a third time.
Yeah. And this was some of the feelings I have about Abi V. So I'm like, yeah, it's all right. We're going to have some chaos at least. I loved her pre-merge of Cambodia. I thought she was a phenomenal character. Loved everything she did. Her revenge on Wu and the drama with PG, I just thought it was just so funny that the one person that everyone didn't like actually ended up having the most power across the two tribes that she was on. What's your sort of thoughts on Abi?
I love a villain. I think she could be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm keen to see her. Yeah.
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 I guess that's just our thoughts on Abi. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, she'd be great.
Yeah. Woohoo! Go Abi. But let's move on to the next player. It is Sydney.
Oh, very
cool.
Yeah.
Massive jump to Korong. Drew, take us away on Sydney's amazing game of Korong.
Sydney's another one similar to Sean, where it's like people have been begging for her to come back. And I know that, like, a lot of the 30 seasons haven't had that many returnees, so this will be the first time for a lot of these people to come back. Sydney was in the alliance that flipped the game in Korong. She had her rivalry with Scott and Jason because they were so butthurt that, she flipped on the Bronze Tribe, and the Ponderosa videos are so uncomfortable because they refused to talk to her, which is so shitty, but, like, I'm not a Scott and Jason person, so it's fine. I think that Sydney is definitely someone that if she came back, she doesn't have the name like Sean, like you said. So I think that would keep her safe. And because she's a physical threat or a physical person, it gets her through the pre-merge aspect of the game. This is another reason I hope this list is at least mostly real. I hope, because Sydney, I need Sydney back.
Yeah, 100%. When I watched Korong, I was like, how the hell have they not brought Sydney back yet? I'm full on board with Sydney return. I loved Sydney and Korong. What's been your thoughts on Sydney?
Yeah, a little bit like Abi-Maria. It's like, yeah, terrific. I think I have very hazy memories of Sydney being fabulous, and yeah, I think it'd be great, and probably one of the more likely on the list.
Yeah, we do have a few comments here. Fans really want it back. She can drag those over 50-year-olds in challenges. Yeah,
drag them through.
Yeah, her and Malcolm dynamic duo just picking, Gervase and Jenna Lewis out, carrying them. They're carrying the old veterans on their backs. I want to see that we have 4 tribes of newbies with a coach vet for each one, where the vet has immunity the whole game. Then whoever wins of the newbies, the coach gets a bonus similar to Rob and Sandra. Except once it's the final 6 and the 4 veterans are in majority, then that's when they start playing. just like
The Voice.
Interesting. I do
like
think,
The Voice, like they have all the potential cast, all they have to audition, and then you've got Rob, Sandra, and like deciding who they get on their tribe. That could be actually a cool idea.
Yeah, surely, Drew. Like, was it the next second chances is Rob, all the Mount Rushmore players, Rob, Harvey, Sandra, Tony, and all the new era players, all the players when they come back have to pitch to them on why they'll come back, and then they do a week-long boot camp with whoever picks them, and then they go out to play.
Sure.
It's basically The Voice.
Sure.
Yeah, it is The Voice. It's The Voice for Survivor.
The Voice for Survivor. Well, we had a Deal or No Deal Island and Survivor sort of mix, so
exactly.
We can take The Voice to an island.
Exactly.
But no singing, just Survivor.
Yeah. No, the vets can't play win. They're supposed to have one of their tribe win, but Danica would be so much more funnier if one of them did win.
But they win if their person wins. They get bragging rights.
How about this? They take the $1 million.
That's the shock at the end.
That is the shock. But no, I don't really have much else to say about Sydney, really. She played a really good game in co-op.
Yes, terrific.
Massive fan favourite. Drew, does Sydney win?
I think she can, because she's got the social, strategic, and physical aspects locked down. So I think that Sydney is the type of person, and she played in a newer season, and Ko-Rong is right when they started doing all these crazy advantages, like right around that time period. So like she's used to this version of the game. Yeah.
All right, I say we move on to the next player who's also from the same season, but it's Tai.
Oh, yeah, great.
Tai from Ko-Rong and Game Changers, massive fan favorite. He saved Mark the Chicken, Drew.
Yep, he sure did. He also got the Thea Award and all of that, and I don't need to see Tai for a third time. I don't like we got finalist Tai in season 32. We get almost finalist Tai in season 34, where I definitely don't think he wins that one either. Like, Tai's fine, but also like he's gotten a lot older since 2016, I think, was Game Changers. Yeah. So I'm good. I'm good with no Tai. But yeah, like he's fine. He's a fine individual. I'm sure everyone will be super excited to have him back if he comes back. But no. I'm good.
Have you ever had a tied vote with Tai?
Yes.
Oh, we have?
Yes.
I'd love to hear we have tied, and he's like, I'm right here.
Well, yeah, because the round. Oh no, the votes weren't on Tai. Never mind. There was a tie vote that Tai was a part of, but the votes weren't on him.
Oh, okay.
Sierra Thomas. The round that your boy gets idled out. The round that Malcolm gets idled out.
Mm-hmm.
Tai plays. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. And he already had bad knees his first season. Oh gosh, it's not looking great, V. Not looking great for Tai.
Again, they've got to adjust the challenges, but yeah, I think he's good. I'm excited. I don't know. I don't have much else to say about him. I think, it'd be great. I think he's already got a bit of legend surrounding his social skills, so I don't know if he progresses very far, or if he's a target early on. for being the lovable chicken saver. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess something about Tai is that he did start the immunity train in Game Changers, when he played the 2 idols, which I do just want to say quickly, all the idols and advantages were at least found pre-merge, like one for each tribe. So I know a lot of people like to be like, oh, there was way too many idols that season. It was literally one per camp, but it just unfortunately played at the finals. So this was my stand on the immunity train. But as Gabe says here, he just fits the Keith now lovable guy archetype. And okay, I would love to see Tai come back and play again. But next player we're going to talk about is also a wee bit of a jump, but Christian, season 37, baby, the ultimate David. Drew, what's the history around Christian?
I mean, they called him Big Bang Theory, like the first episode of David. Every David versus Goliath person that's on this list, and there are 3 of them, I think, are all people that people have been wanting to have come back forever. Forever is relative now because we're in season 37. If I made a list, which I have, all 3 of those people would come back. So Christian, I feel like, has been a shoo-in since the season ended. That this is we're now getting in a territory of like, yes, I want all of these people back because they haven't played again. I think that Christian probably comes in with a bigger target on his back because people do know that he's social and strategic. But I think the social aspect probably keeps him safe. I think this is one of the ones where I'm like, I hope this is real because, I would love Christian back.
Yeah, well, I was getting kind of worried because obviously the more New Era seasons we do without a returning player season, I was starting to get worried that maybe he was going to get, like his time would kind of pass. And I feel like that's the case for a lot of the 30s players. Like we see from Gabe, the only other competition was Charlie for that spot. I mean, I haven't seen that season, but I do know that Charlie was a massive, he should have won, type person. So they might have brought him on for that instead of Christian, but I'm very glad to see Christian come back and play. He does have that lovable energy about him. I feel like he might be a big target threat early on, but I mean, it just depends how the tribes sort of just naturally form together, right? Maybe it's on with like Cirie and Amanda and stuff. They might want to have him on for that. But Vee, what's your thoughts on Magi Christian?
Well, it was only a matter of time before Christian came back for a returning season. So I'm not surprised at all to see him on this rumored list, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the actual show. He's terrific. I think he does a little bit like Tai. He's got that sort of we can't possibly let this guy go to the end kind of energy about him. So he might be an early boot, but it was only a matter of time before we saw him again. So I'm not surprised at all. It'll be good.
Yeah, and just one last quick comment as well. Hubicki, I suspected him based on some of his recent pods. Well, he's Dr. Hubicki now. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I always felt like it was a guaranteed lock for any returning player season. I was getting a little bit nervous with just how far away season was getting. Between the new returning player season. But speaking of season 37, we've got Davie. Where is Davie? He's here. Drew. We've got Davie back. I know you love Davie. Give us a rundown of Davie.
I mean, Davie plays the idol that basically changes the trajectory of the rest of that season. If this is legitimate, Davie's going to be my winner pick at the beginning of the season, and I'll say that right now. It doesn't really matter who else is there, even if Cirie is there. If Davie's on the cast, I will pick him as my winner. Is a very social, strategic person in the game. I think by the time he goes out, it's one of those, okay, he's a front runner to potentially win. Let's nip this in the bud now. And it works. The fact that he was an alt for his season and has grown into one of the more popular players in the show's recent history, I think is a testament to him. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times. Great guy. Like I said, everyone from David vs. Goliath that's on this list, I want to come back. So this is great.
Yeah. And also something as well that I do want to point out, which I found this story so funny. I love a lot of the behind the scenes stories, but he said on this deep dive with the Survivor specialist that, of course, he couldn't tell people he was going out to play Survivor. So he lied saying he was going, I forgot which country it was, but it was some country, I think near like the Middle East or something like that. And then after he went up to start playing, I think like it got bombed or something like that. And so obviously everyone was like really scared and like, oh my God, is he okay? Is he okay? And I think production had to be like, oh no, don't worry, he's fine. He's playing Survivor. Like I think which I thought was like, oh my God, what a dramatic story. Like, hey guys, I'm just gonna go to this place for a few months with no contact. I'll be fine. And a few days later, a massive bombing happens. It's like, oh my God. But hang on, what's this? Davie was alternate for Cirie's son. Thank goodness we got him instead. I haven't seen Joe play Big Brother, but I have heard pretty bad things. So I'm definitely very glad we got Davie here. And while I may not put him as a winner pick, Drew, I do see him going really, really far. Vee, what's your hot thoughts on Drew?
I can't. I'm Davie. Drew's gonna win.
Oh, Drew.
The second he is on Survivor, he will be winning. That's my tip for Drew. Davie, I can't remember Davie. I can't remember at all. I can't remember. I know, but I've only watched it once. So, that, I mean, there's like 48 seasons.
Come on, Vee, do a better job.
And when I used to do top 10 recaps, it was all like before season like 35 stuff. So anything after that, I've only seen it once. I can't remember him. He looks lovely and he sounds smart.
Yes, really lovely. And it's very smart. And plus, he's still quite young. So
there you go. Yeah, there you go. His knees will be great. He'll have a good...
He really is. Where is Davie?
I'm sorry. See, the gaps in my knowledge for Survivor. Oh well, there are lots of gaps. But if it's between like 35 and 45 and not winners at war, that's where I get really shaky.
But the last player that we're going to be talking about from the season, she did some negotiations. She opened up the diplomacy and talked her way into it as Angelina.
I remember her.
The rice queen, the ladder queen, the jacket queen. Like, Drew, tell me something Angelina has done that is not iconic.
Nothing. She's another one of these great TV villain, and she even says like a lot of the stuff that she wasn't, but she's still a good TV villain. And every time I watch this season, I like her because the first time I watched it, I could not stand her, and I've watched the season probably 4 times since then. Yeah. And every single time, it's like, yeah, she's the gift that keeps on giving. I need more Angelina. Yeah. I think that she's very strategic. And yes, a lot of the stuff that she did, like the negotiations or the ladder and all that, it was very transparent. But she still made it to the end, and she wasn't dragged along the way. Like, she was still out there doing her thing. It's just that the jury didn't respect her for whatever reason. And didn't throw her any votes. Instead, gave it to Nick Wilson. Mike White was fine. Like I like Mike White. Angelina is. I feel like her and Abby are sort of in the same archetype, but I'm fine with having 2 of the same archetype out there because she's not the chaotic villainy of Abby. She is more of the this villainy of herself.
Yeah. Well, what I love so much about Angelina Vee is that every season has got a Meg. Like you've got a lovely family cast, a lovely group of cast, but there's going to be one person who everyone just has to completely shit on, and that was Angelina, sadly. Mm. And, she owned up to it. She was still making moves, making fake idols for her nemesis to find and stuff. It was like, oh my God, what? You found it? No way. And obviously everyone saw right through it. I was like, come on. It would have been a good move if someone else did it. It's because it's Angelina did it. It's like, come on, Angelina. That's just horrible. But I would love to see Angelina go really, really far. And I do think she can make it really far. part. What's your sort of thoughts on Angelina?
Yeah, she could. I mean, my memory of her is hazy as well, because Mike White sort of is the main guy that stands out from that season for me. But yeah, again, I think, she's doesn't have a target on her back. She might be able to slide right on through.
Yeah. And any final thoughts on Angelina, Drew, before we move on?
Nope. I love all three people from Dave vs. Goliath that are on this one, so let's bring them all back.
Yeah. We do have some couple of comments here. She can't help being straightforward, and everyone can see what she wants. Yeah, and this one makes a great Survivor player. People know what you want, because tell me what you want, what you really, really want. No, tell me what you want. No, but I'd love to see Angela come back and play, and I reckon she'll be such a great character on a return as well. We also have Rick Devens.
Yeah, that's very
Age of Extinction, baby.
Yeah.
The biggest character from Age of Extinction, the front runner to win. Drew, what's your thoughts on Rick Devens?
Everyone already knows that you could tell right after the season was done, whenever they do a returning season, and it's not all winners, Rick Devens is going to be on it because he's the narrator, he is the front runner, and all this. And the only negative that I'll ever have about Rick Devens is people love to bitch and complain that Chris Underwood won Edge of Extinction when it should have been Rick Devens. But when you ask him, oh, why shouldn't Chris have won? It's like, oh, well, he got voted out. He shouldn't be able to win. It's like, well, you know what's crazy about that? And I don't hear anyone complaining about that. So I wouldn't have complained. I didn't complain when Chris won, because if you win, you win. I know that, Devens has his haters in the community, and I think it's more, because he's Probe's boy, then we can't like him. It's like, no, Rick made for some fun television. I like Rick Devens, and I think that people are going to target him very early because he is so polarizing in the community. So I think that Cirie probably outlasts him, and Cirie should be the first person to go. Should be, but it won't happen. Rick Devens has a higher chance of being the first person to go.
Yeah, which I would find that so devastating. I loved Rick Devens so much.
Yeah.
He got so much hate. People say he idled his way to the very end, but he won 4 immunity challenges. He misplayed pretty much 2 or 3 of his idols, and yeah, he got voted out, he came back. But I think a lot of people tend to forget that because he came back at the merge, and there's so much game from there to there, whereas it's harder if you come back right at the final 6. There's not as much game to play. But I do agree, Chris did everything perfect from the final 6 to the final tribal council. He did everything 100% right to make it to the end and win. And yeah, I've been wanting Rick Devens back for so long. Apparently the original idea for season 41 was the fire tokens. There was going to be a shop, but Rick Devens was going to run the shop. So you could buy advantages and stuff like that with the tokens. And Rick Devens would be like, hey, how's it going? But that would have been pretty fun.
The fire tokens. The fire tokens. Oh, God.
That was yonks ago, fire tokens. Oh, my God.
For good reason.
Yeah. But Vee, what's your thoughts on Rick Devens?
Oh, same as you. I'm excited to see him back. He's a good narrator. I love that. And he's a funny guy. So, yeah, does he go far? I don't know. But, no, I'm excited to see him again. And, you know what? I regret saying anything about knees, Gabe. Every person you've commented on his knees.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gabe gave me shit all last summer because I brought up once that Ozzy had an OnlyFans, and so just get used to it.
Oh my God.
Hey, Gabe, I want to say, I expect you to keep bringing this up for every season 50 podcast we do, all right? Yeah. It's like, hey, that person would have survived the tribal if they just had much better knees.
I also mentioned shoulder and lower back as well.
Knees are the point.
Yeah.
Everyone has bad knees, so everyone can relate. Yeah, exactly. Everyone can relate to bad knees.
They're the first to go.
Oh, God. Or maybe it's the other way around. They've got good knees, so we've got to take them out first.
Yeah. By the knees.
Yeah, take them out by the knees. Yeah, we're going to crawl our way to the end and win. And that's how the winner is decided. We do have a few comments here. Yeah, about the knees.
Yeah.
And I think it's Fun TV. Then he did it On Fire with Jeff Probst's podcast. He got an extra in with production with Jeff. Did he?
Oh, why not?
Yeah,
Why
he did.
not?
Yeah, he did that.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. What's that? That would have been weird. The fire tokens. I don't know. I reckon if he had like what's it, like a tuck shop or something, like a tuck truck. Just when I'm driving, no, like a tuk-tuk. He had a tuk-tuk. He's got a shop in the back. He just goes down to the camp. Hey everyone, want to buy some advantages? I'd be down for that.
rather than finding them, you have to buy them from Devens.
You know what? How about this? Scrap the journeys. I don't know if they're still doing them or not. Scrap the journeys. Scrap the Beware advantages. Just have Devens driving around in a tuk-tuk.
Yeah,
I'd be so down.
No, I'd watch that.
Yeah, it's almost like the idol in the birdcage, except it's on a tuk-tuk. So it's like you have to purchase things in front of everyone. That would be pretty great. And oh Lordy, storming over here, but back now. Rick Devens, well, no surprise here. Yeah, I mean, similar to Christian, I was a bit worried as more time went on. Maybe he wouldn't make it on just because of so many other people. Oh, that's why I have bad knees, and I am that couch watcher. I'm okay with it. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't last an hour on Fiji in general, probably, but especially on Survivor.
I would go and play Survivor, but I'd just roly poly everywhere. that's how I would win. But that is it for pre-40. We're now onto the new era, the greatest era Survivor that's ever lived, and pigs can also fly. So let's talk about the first new era contestant, and it is Jonathan, Thor, the challenge beast of the new era, even though he only won 2 individual challenges. But Drew, he carried his whole tribe on his back. He saved them from drowning.
He sure did. When I was covering 42, after the season was done, I sat there and said, oh, I think these 3 people will come back, but if production gets what they want, and they will always get what they want, Jonathan's going to be the person that they bring back, and I'm not excited for it. And so to be validated here now, maybe validated, who's to say? I'm not a Jonathan person. I've never been a Jonathan person. The scene that always stands out to me is when he's talking about how his dad legitimately abused him and his brothers by waking them up at 2 or 3, they were like 2 or 3 years old, and he would wake them up at the ass crack of dawn and make them run up and down a mountain or something. And he was like, that's where I get all of my, my grit and stuff. Like, that kind of sounds like abuse, but whatever. But they put inspirational music over it. And it's like, that's a weird story, Jonathan. Jonathan peaked at the tribal part of the game. Once the merge hit, it was like, please just get rid of him. Not because I think he's going to win, because he's not, but I just want him gone. And it was very fun watching everyone else just be like, yeah, can he please? Lindsay, there was moments where she was annoyed with him. He needed, and then at Final Tribal, and he's sitting there like, oh man, but Mike, it's like, dude, no one's wanted Mike. Like, please just shut up. Yeah. Just shut up. He's a one that I hope that they just say, you know what, let's just get rid of him now, please. Or just make him the Joe, the new era Joe, and just get rid of him immediately at the merge, so we don't have to deal with this. Even though he's not even the best challenge person on his own season, and I think he's tied with Lindsay. Was it Tori? Oh, Tori too. Okay, so it's not like he's out here winning a bajillion challenges by himself. So, yeah, that's my rant on Jonathan.
I will add to that. I do love Jonathan. I love him more because Drew doesn't like him. So, but something I do remember, so I recall there was one challenge, it was like the slingshots, and they had to put the sandbag in slingshot, they had to send it flying. And the edit made it look like Jonathan knocked all the targets out like on his first try with all of them. But if you look at the wide shot, there's a lot of orange sandbags on the ground, so clearly he missed some. But the editor was like, "Oh my god, Jonathan nailed it all straight away! Oh my gosh, he's a challenge piece. Watch out!" Then all the wide shots is multiple on the ground, and so I mean, look, I love Jonathan. I do think for a new era, he's a big muscular guy on the season where everyone was like really short and tiny. So obviously he stands out quite a bit. I do think he would probably fit more of like a new era all-stars, I would say. But there's probably something I'm going to say about every single person on the new era. So just a heads up. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad to see him come back. It'll be interesting to see how other people view him, because for like a team-based challenge, he's a beast for it, but individually, not so much. So I'm very curious to see how that would sort of play out. But V, what's your thoughts on Jonathan?
Well, I bet he's got fantastic knees. You know, every season he's the Giga Chad of the season. Thanks for the term Drew taught me. So, you know, the final boss for Chads for that season. I think, I don't see his social game holding up, but yeah, I reckon he could definitely run through some challenges. I don't know, he's terrific. I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And we've got a whole ton of comments that just came that I do want to quickly skim over. It's all up to Coach Drew and V to explain this.
Even up until like 45, it's still real hazy.
Yeah. And what is that? Well, we do need Jonathan, like a strong guy, sort of archetype. How does 39 to 41 not have anyone worth playing?
Well, 40, that was Winners at War.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see like
39 to 41.
True. I would love to see like a Dean or Karishma come back from 39,
or Lane back, or Lane, or there's a lot of.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna try to bury 39 and find like bury it. We know why, but like that cast is almost perfect, and that Freberg is almost perfect. But I think they're just trying to bury it. 41, I think the issue is, and we're about to see this, because there are only 2 other new era people after Jonathan on this list.
Yeah.
So, and this is another reason I don't buy it necessarily, because you can't have 3 people from the new. Yeah, I understand that there are fans that hate the new era and think that it's all bad. It's like, well, that's wrong. But there are a lot of great characters in the last 8 seasons, about to be 9 seasons. And if you're telling me that these are the 3 that you decided on out of everyone, 1, why are there only 3? But 2, really? Like, you pick these specific 3? That's what continues to lead me towards as might not be all on the level. Having said that, there's plenty of people. There are like 3 people from 41 that I wouldn't mind seeing again. 42, I have a list, and none of them are Jonathan.
Wow, I wonder why.
So yeah, that's
it's like everyone, including Roxroy, and then Jonathan's underneath.
You know what? I'd rather see Roxroy than Jonathan. Roxroy's not on my list, but I'd add him just to say, oh yeah, there are pre-mergers that I might not like, but merge-wise, I would even rather see Tori. And I did not like Tori.
Fair enough. Paul Malcolm gonna have to find him in one-on-one challenge. No, but Cirie. This is how Cirie gets medically evacuated, Gabe. Right? Cirie's got to go for one-on-one Australian Survivor challenge.
Cirie could take him.
I reckon she can. Just
She's
take
pretty
him.
tough.
Just what is it? Kick him on at the knees, and he's out.
Yeah, the knees.
Yeah.
Go for the knees.
Go for the knees. I gather we're now starting a new era. Yes, we are all new era from this point onward. CBS is not touching 39. That cast is blacklisted. Yeah, it's really unfortunate because of that one incident that everyone is blacklisted. Like, I agree, similar to Thailand. Most of those places that are doing other reality shows to not be erased fields. Yeah, and I hope all of them, except for that one person, all gets another shot on another TV show. Okay, clearly I missed the 3 aside from Jonathan. Who else? Well, be patient, Dolores. Good things take time. Just like the new era, good things will take time. Okay, Oh, good things take time. Watch Coach Drew get on Survivor's only ally as a golden boy.
Yeah, that's
No, Drew will be the golden boy player.
Here's the golden boy game. Come on.
I don't know how tall people think that I am, but I'm not. I'm quite short. So no, I would not be the golden boy.
Yeah. Shan was on season 41. I mean,
no, she was on Thailand.
Oh, Xian. Oh, sorry. I thought you said Shan from season 41. You know, she was on Thailand. I could have been down to see Shan.
Yeah, we're talking about Shan or Xian? Because I mean, I guess
I'm not sure.
Xian is Shiiann and Shan is Shan. So I guess it could be either one. Shan is 41. Xian is 5.
Okay, Xian. I would have loved to see on this cast. Shan. I'm glad she's not. I don't like Shan. And yeah, it's hard. All right.
I'm lost.
I mean, what's your thoughts on Shan, Drew?
What are my thoughts on Shan?
Yeah.
Good TV villain. Good TV villain. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I love Sydney on that season. I'll do anything for Sydney to come back. Sydney Segal from season 41.
She's one of these Russell Hantz disciples, and everyone knows how I feel about him, so I'm good.
Honestly, I love Sydney to the point where, what is it? She was doing an auction for her sports bra she wore on the island. And I thought it'd be really funny if I entered it in. But seeing I placed a bid, someone else bidded straight away above me. And, you know, I don't know how much this is in American dollars, but it was over like 10 grand New Zealand for a sports bra. And I was like, I'm not even paying anywhere near like 20 for like a year. Good God. It was 2021. I was really bored. You know, it's still COVID lockdowns here for us. And I actually had the opportunity to speak to Sydney as well. And she gave me one of the best cameos of all time, brought by one of my best friends, Nathan.
My cursor is hovering over end stream. Don't worry, it's ready to go if need be.
Was 39 the guy? Yes, that was with Dan Spilo. I probably spelled it wrong. Newer season, the lady who backstabbed the dude who was a ride or die. Yeah, but that was Shan. But let's move on to the new player from the greatest era of Survivor to ever exist. It's Q.
I like Q.
Now, I haven't seen the season, so you both are going to have to do a phenomenal job explaining this to me. I'll start off with Drew. Drew, why should I be excited about a letter of the alphabet?
Because he's a great TV villain. He was a villain on the season after there was this whole misreading of what Jeff said about no more villains, and people were like, and it's like, okay, so then when Q shows up and is a villain, and people are online saying we hate Q, he's such a I'm like, guys, weren't you the same ones complaining and bitching about how there were going to be no more villains? This is what you guys are saying, and then as soon as one pops up, you don't like him. That's weirdo. That's a weirdo mentality to have. But as I keep saying, Survivor fans are slowly turning Star Wars fans, so that it makes sense that would happen. Q is a great modern day TV villain. He is one of many people in the season to not play their idol correctly or at all. But he was one of those people that after the season was over, everyone's like, yeah, we need Q back. And I think that if you're going to pick 3 people from this era, Q would be on a short list for me. He's not, and none of these 3 are actually on my short list, like short list, but he's on my shorter list. So you know what I'm saying. I don't think Q survives long. Yeah. But it's possible. As long as he votes out Jonathan, I'm cool.
How about you, V? Obviously still fresh and young. We can see his kneecaps. He's got good knees.
Yeah.
What's your overall thoughts and feelings on Q?
Well, what I liked about Q is that he started off at the top, and then there was this moment where he just went full chaos. And I thought maybe it was strategy of trying to knock himself down the totem pole so he wasn't quite a target. That didn't really end up being how it was, but it's sort of, you never quite know what he's thinking. And I think that he's, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, I feel like he's either really incredibly smart or just chaos. And I by the end of the series, I hadn't actually decided which one it was. But he also did this thing where I think he wore his hoodie like on his legs or something. So he had like a pouch in the front, and it was a whole thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was it almost like a bag of tricks almost with Tony? It was like, you never know what's in my pouch. Or
yeah, well, it was sort of, I mean, I think he just did that to be cool, but I think, I never could put my finger on where he was coming from. And so I'm interested to see, with a bit of time to think about strategy, how he comes out. Because I feel like he could be a strategist, but I don't know. I'm curious to find out. So I am really pleased to, if Q ends up being on the cast, I'm really keen to see what he does.
Yeah, well, something that I do just want to read this comment. Please tell me that Banu isn't back too.
Oh.
I don't know anything about Banu, but I've had Chris Kahuna and many people tell me that I'm just like Banu. So I hope he's on 50, so at least I know what that's
You're not like Banu.
I'm not
was
like
he the
Banu.
one that was begging people not to vote him out, like on his knees, hands and knees, begging?
People to vote him out, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What's Banu? Please don't vote me out. What?
My favorite moment about Banu. Oh, go ahead, Vee.
No. I think we're going to say the same thing. You go.
Oh, my favorite moment is when I did the marathon over the summer, and that was day 46, so season 46. And because I had to wake up extra early because the season is longer because of the longer episodes, I spent like the first 4 or 5 hours just kind of sitting there like yelling at my laptop like, I hate, like, just get rid of him because he survived 4 episodes, and those 4 episodes are very Banu heavy. Like I'm pretty sure he like set a record for most confessionals in that time frame. It was just a lot, and then of course my Survivor crush for the season, Liz, gets in the chat and is like, "Oh, I love Banu." And it's like, "Oh no, I'm not. I don't actually hate it."
Oh, you love Banu? Me too. Oh my god, he was like one of my favorite players ever.
Love Banu.
Yeah, and we do have quite a few other comments here in regards to Q. Okay, Q was working hard to get on 50. Q was famous for saying big mistake, and then openly following Hint's nemesis. Does he know he's a villain? He seems to think he's all that and a bag of chips.
No. That's why I want to see him play again, because I was very confused but intrigued about him.
Yeah, and also, how have you not seen the season? Well,
he hates New Era.
I like good TV, Danica. Okay, so no, I should get around to watching that.
Season 50, I bet.
If it was mostly New Era, I'd be like, oh, Vee and Drew can cover it. It's fine. No, it's I should get around to watching it because the only New Era seasons I haven't seen is this one airing right now, and 45 and 46. And all I've heard is season 45 has the best winner, and season 46 got some of the best characters with Q and I think Venus. I heard Venus was a big character, so I should get around to watching it. Mucky, you'd like him. Fitzgerald, archetype you love. You're only the surface. I'm really manifesting my one and only episode.
You could get on your hands and knees and beg people not to vote you out.
I would, if I was playing American Survivor, I would beg them to vote me out. Please get me off this island. I don't want to be here. What's this? Q got a shot to play hide and seek to see who was smart. I did hear about that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if they hit really well, you got to watch out for them. But if they were very easy. See, I'm really bad at being the seeker. I would have just lost in the jungle and be like, oh my god, I'm a one-man schwarm now. Gosh. But we do have one last player to talk about, who is on a season I did watch, and I'm very excited to see them come and play. It's Genevieve. Season 47, baby. Drew, she was part of the Operation Italy, one of the biggest blindsides of that season. Anything else fun and interesting to say about Genevieve?
No, she did make my short list of people to come back after 47 was done, because it was her and Rachel. That was such a fun rivalry, and to see that they have become like really close friends off the show shows the kind of respect that they had for each other as players. I think that recency, because if the older players don't go back and watch all of the seasons, they're going to watch the more recent seasons just to see potential people, and I think that might end up catching her.
Yeah,
because if you're leaving while 48 is playing, that means the last season is on air. Last season you watched is 47, and Genevieve is probably the second best player on that season, and you see her out there, you might try to you'll try to link up with her because she's common to you, like she's familiar, you're familiar with her, or you get rid of her immediately because you saw what she did.
Yeah. To me, my sympathy with Genevieve is I feel like she's going to struggle on this season because she was praised so heavily throughout season 47 that I do think she would get, here we go, Gabe brings it up, Genevieve is fantastic player, triple threat, was compared to Kim Spradlin. Mm-hmm. I could almost see a very similar story to Kim Spradlin Winners at War, where Genevieve is just struggling to get a foothold anywhere because everyone just sees us as this big strategic player that played so recently. Sim to Q, with what you guys saying that he's this massive character and quite chaotic, maybe he's taken out early, just simply because he's just known for chaos, and he's quite recent compared to some of the older school players where the games might be completely different now. Genevieve can work with anyone. She's very adaptable. I do agree. She's extremely adaptable. What's your thoughts on Genevieve? Vee, have you any?
I'm going to have to pull a Kiki Palmer here and say I have never seen this woman before in my life. I have no recollection of her. I'm not sure if I've got a recollection of season 47. I must have dreamt my way through it. I know. It
was on last year.
Was it?
Yeah, it was on here last year.
Yeah, it was last fall. Yeah, well, for us. So.
Oh God. No, she looks lovely. Good for her.
I do love that dress actually. Very.
Yeah. No. Look. Maybe if once I actually see her doing, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. But no, I've got no recollection. Call me a moron, but I got nothing. She's probably got good knees under that dress. So
yeah, very good knees.
Very, very strong, very sturdy.
Especially.
I hope she wins the whole thing.
Yeah.
I hope she wins.
Well, I guess one last comment about Genevieve. For Jenny 47 was like winners at War, Kim Spradlin. Yeah, I can see that. We do have one final player I do want to bring up because I saw them on a couple of other cast leaks right before this podcast, but all the way back in season 2. Oh wait, no, sorry. Okay, never mind. We've got before I get to that player, we've got another player to talk about on a season I haven't seen. So it's up to you guys to fill me in on everything to do with Say. You guys are both. You both are covering the season right now, so I would love to hear your thoughts. What is Say been up to?
Say's a great TV villain. He's one of the TV villains that I can actually like. I'm slowly starting to root for. Maybe we'll find out. There have been 5 episodes, and in 4 of them, she probably should have been the person that gone home. And she didn't. Every single time, she's been able to get out of it. And now they're ready to merge. So I think that there's a big chance that she could gain some footing. Because if this is real, that means that more than likely she doesn't win, because that's one thing. You don't see any winners on this list. But I would say that it probably means that she makes it fairly far and continues to give great television.
Yeah. How about you, Vee? What's your thoughts on Say here?
Yeah, she's terrific and gives good commentaries. Yeah, I'd be excited to see her back there, and nice to see some of the more recent ones on as well. Yeah, but we haven't seen how she's been impressive so far, but you know.
Okay. We do see a few comments here where say similar to Rome. I loved Rome, so maybe I do have to watch just for saying what? Say really? Great TV. Just go through the game, guns blazing like Tony.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, excellent assessment on say. Great job, Vee and Drew. Great assessment.
Literally just watched her. So.
Yeah, and are they filming 50 yet? No. So the cast isn't still officially locked. This is just a leaked cast that's spreaded around a lot online. I saw Johnny Fairplay had posted this cast. I was like, oh, why not do a cheeky little video on it? Little as in 2 hours. But it's still here. But the player that I did want to bring up, which I thought was this person, but it's not, it's Elizabeth.
Oh, again, another woman in media that's been treated unfairly.
Yeah. I don't have much memory of Elizabeth, Drew. You might have to refill me in. Who is Elizabeth?
She had a duo with Roger. She was on the Kucha tribe. She's another one of the Kucha members that is kind of a shitbag in real life, but like whatever. She's fine. I really don't want to. Like, I guess she was supposed to come back for 8, and she didn't want to play. I really don't want Elizabeth to come back. I'm not an Elizabeth fan.
Yeah.
She made for great TV in season 2 because of her relationship with Roger. It was a very adorable relationship. But unless Roger's out there, I really don't care.
Yeah. How about you, Vee? Have you got any recollection of Elizabeth?
Yeah, she was fine. She was great, and she's been doing a lot since, especially in the 2000s. So she didn't run off to live a normal life or anything. Yeah, I'd watch just for the nostalgia of it, my nostalgia from 2018. But you know, she's fine.
Yeah.
She married Tim Hasselbeck.
Who?
She married Tim Hasselbeck. He's a former NFL quarterback.
Oh, right. There you go.
Oh, lucky her. We do have. Sorry, I got nothing really to say on Elizabeth, but we do have some comments here. Oh man, Say and Q on the same tribe. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Yeah.
Elizabeth got famous after Survivor Australia. That's right. The original
Survivor Australia.
Survivor Australia. That's not real Survivor game. Come on. She's been all over social media. I knew she was coming. Sorry, not a fan of Elizabeth. Did the TV show called The View. She's political in real life, so she'll come with baggage. Survivor 50 should be like this. Oh my God. Should be like Disneyland. It should be partly nostalgic, partly new stuff, and should be universally loved. Well, unless it was
all over sticky.
And all over sticky. And as long as it's not Disney Star Wars, then it will be universally loved. Please make her first boot. Yeah, I don't have much else to really say on Elizabeth.
I don't think we'll be able to make her first boot. They'll have to do that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Well, once Drew plays in season 49 and it's like for 50, he's got to take her out at the knees. Yes, a lot of bad knees, Vee.
Well, Elizabeth would be in her 50s, surely. So she may very well have bad knees. And also that looks like a school photo as well with the background.
It does. Yeah.
I've got like 12 of them.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that is the end of the cast leak, unfortunately. But there is something that I do just want to bring up because I teased it earlier with Cirie, so I'm going to bring it up here. I do apologize if it's a little bit negative. But it's my Shinbadi hat theory. I was going to mention this in the video I posted yesterday or the day before. If you haven't already, please check it out. If you want to see me punch my laptop and have a little bit of a rage, definitely watch it. But season 50 for me, obviously we've all got our own different expectations and hopes for what we want season 50 to be. For me, as Brendan brought up, should be like Disneyland, partly nostalgic. I think it should be a celebration all eras of the show, from your old to middle to new. We talked a little bit about the start. I would have loved to see like maybe Hatch and Tina come in. I would have loved to see a lot of the bigger names, even though we've seen them play so many times already. They are almost the main characters of this franchise, and it'd be great for like one final goodbye, almost like of all eras of the show, but like your Rob, Parvati, Sandra, Cirie, Tony, maybe chuck in Sarah Lucina, throw in Russell and Fairplay, because why not? Even though I don't like Russell at all, it would have been great to see those players come back, even from the newer era. Like I've heard a lot about like Q. I reckon he's a great fit. Like D. Tina will die, especially with them knees. Gosh, 1v1ing against Hubicki Manthey at first.
I would say Tina was 41, I think, in Australian Outback, so that put her in her mid-60s.
That's like as old as I am, though. I remember it being so old, even when I watched it in 2018.
And I was going to say, and like Carolyn. I want to talk about Carolyn because she has posted online that she has not made the cut for 50 and even asked if someone's got an agent for Australian Survivor to come and help her out. And this is my tinfoil hat theory on what I think happened. I think the new era has changed so much where, yes, there's social strategy. A lot of it is now to do with advantages, beware advantages and stuff. It's not what Survivor used to be. So I think that's why a lot of the bigger names like your Robs, Tonys, Parvies and stuff, don't necessarily want to come back and play. And that's why they'd rather do Australia versus the world or the Traders or Deal or No Deal Island. And I think what happened was, I think a lot of people who've done all these other shows all got cut. I think that's what happened with Carolyn. She recently did the Traders. And even though Jeff Probst made the announcement like, oh, I'm slowly overcoming it, I do think it's a load of shit. And when I rewatched that video, I couldn't help but notice, but the only person who he talks about is Cirie, and how only Cirie is allowed to pretty much do other shows because she's an icon, she's amazing, she can come back. And what I think happened was, I think they looked at the cast. Apparently, the original draft was mostly new era, but then they dropped it and changed around to get more like older, sort of old school players on. I think they realized that they didn't have a lot of big names from the older eras on. And so that's why I think they made the exception for Cirie, because as Drew, you mentioned, Cirie will always come back. She loves doing these shows. Right, so I think Cirie will always come back. And that's my tinfoil hat on why I think Cirie is on. But I do think it is a massive shame not to have more new era players on. I think Dee's doing the challenge. She's, from what I've heard, she's one of the best winners of the new era. Would have been great to have her on representing new era. I think Carolyn easily top 3. Oh my god, you got D! Woo! Main character energy. I think Carolyn should have been on the season. Easily top 3, top 2 characters of the new era, of everything I've seen apart from
We didn't mention this guy.
Oh, and Yam Yam.
They're the only 2 new eras in the game.
Yeah, but that's just my short rant over. I think it's a massive shame that Carolyn's not going to be on the season.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, there's some other cuts like Rome, for example, and Spencer or Raymond. And I was like, that's fine. I don't really need to send them back. But Carolyn, it's a real shame she's not being on. What's your thoughts on all this, Drew? Like, are there any cuts or anyone who you're sad not to be potentially rumored on?
I mean, I'm still in the
We
camp.
had another 2 hours.
I'm still in the camp of until there's an actual set cast, and then we find out who was actually cut. I don't, because for all we know, these people are just saying this as like a red herring, so that when they do show up, people are like, "Oh, I thought you weren't playing." Because I mean, that's what happened with Sandra and Rob before Winners at War, where it's like, "Hey, are you playing?" Rob's like, "No, I already told you. Like, this is happening. Like, I'm not playing." And then when he shows up, she's like, "He didn't tell me that he was going to be there," and she was on TV upset about it. It's like, yeah, if I'm playing in a legend season, there are going to be people that try to pregame and all that, but I'm trying to keep it as quiet as, and I'll even throw in like, hey, I straight up got cut, because then when you actually are out there, there are no preconceived notions of you being there, so now they're forced to in the moment decide, am I going to work with the person or not? Because if they know you're out there, then they can already say, I probably won't work with them, or I will. When you see them there, it's like, okay, I have to make a decision now. So that's why I'm still, because I think Penner's going to play. I think Jonathan Penner's going to play. So
that would be a great pick to have on.
That'd be right. Yeah.
I'd love to see Pena come on and play. We do have one comment here from Gabe that Carolyn and Jesse's another one who I thought was sure and locked to play. Are pissed they got cut. And, the original plan for this Australia versus the World season was actually Australia versus America. And what I think happened, why it changed, was I think with the news of Survivor 50 going around, we know how Jeff feels about players going on other shows. I think they had to pick one or the other. So I think a lot of people took a step back, and that's why we've only got the 3 American players. Or maybe the budget was just too expensive because you got Tony, Parv, and Cirie. You didn't really need anyone else from American Survivor on there. But I do think it's a massive shame that players like a Carolyn, like a Jesse, even though I think Jesse's a little bit overrated, just me personally, they're still great players of the new era, and I would have loved to see them come on and represent new era. But V, have you got any thoughts about everything we've just talked about? Any players you're sad not to see on? Anyone who you hope
look,
just to come back?
I'm just happy that they're doing a returning season. I really felt like the 40s era has sort of not stagnated, but it needs to be freshened up. And so I'm just excited that they're doing something. I'm excited to see some old school players. I do think it's great that there is a little bit of an old school, mid school, new school kind of thing going on, because they've been talking about that for like a decade. So I'm just, they're throwing us a crumb, and I'm just like, oh, thank you. More, please. I'll watch it regardless. So, but it's a tough industry, and I think it's sort of with the real popularity of competition reality shows and people coming on as players to lots of things, it's a little bit unprecedented on how these networks are going to manage their IP, so to speak. But in reality, it's like, watching your favorite Olympians do things, and people are all about the players now. And but I'm just excited to see something happen in season in the 40s.
Yeah.
In the 50s.
How about you, Drew? Any thoughts on overall season 50 and stuff that you'd like to add?
No, I'm just excited for it to happen. If this is the actual cast, I'm excited with what we have. Like with what we have here, this is something that could make for some great television. And if it's not, I'm sure they could still put together a cast that would make equally as good television. But if this is what we have, this is, like B said, this is a good mix of every era of Survivor that we have. Yeah, it's not everyone that we want yet. We don't have enough people from here, there, or the other, but it's a perfect mix of what we need to say, hey, this is season 50. Yeah, not every season is represented, but every era is represented, and we have people that, when you think about this time period, these are, if they're not the first 2 people to come to your head, they at least make them come to your head with this. Yeah. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess my final thoughts is I do think this is a great cast. I do think for a standard All-Star season, it's a huge hit. Like, bring everyone on this cast in. I'd love to see it. However, I think for season 50, I was hoping for something a little bit more special. But similar to V, I'm excited to see players come back and play. I do love a good returning player season. We do have one comment here from Dolores who I do want to quickly bring up. New era, we saw a bunch of players who had never seen Survivor. Some did not even do their homework before coming on. Now, I'm not sure about who these players are, but I know for Australian Survivor, like David Gannett, who's seen, the Golden God, one of the biggest players in global Survivor history, had, I think, only seen one season before playing the first time, and is now seen as one of the greatest players. I do think it's an interesting debate who turns out to be better players, super fans or players who haven't seen the show before. Because I think if you haven't seen the show, you can take more risks because the field so open. Whereas super fans, you understand what you can and can't do a bit more.
I don't know, Dolores. I don't know, because sometimes when you've got a whole tribe of super fans, that can be kind of annoying as well. I don't know.
Yeah. And also, I'm happy with Minimal from New Era. Didn't Tyson tweet that he was going to be on season 50? Tyson keeps saying on his podcast he's not going. Of course, lies and lies all the time. Yeah, I mean, I can see Tyson on 50.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I can see that potentially happening. And one final comment: Mucky wanted all the players to be over 50. Yeah, 50,
I want them all over 50.
50.
Yes.
50 for 50, like at least
I'd
50
love
players. 50 players, one for every season, but they have to be over 50 years old.
Yeah.
And how many medical evacuations can go for one season?
Yeah.
It's 50. It's not like they're 70. 50. It's 50.
Yeah.
They're no
50's all right.
Yes, some of their knees are bad, some of their knees are fine. But, we're just going to roll the dice with extreme physical challenges.
Oh, it'd be fascinating to have a series where they're just all over 50. That would be fascinating.
Yeah, the golden era, baby.
Yeah.
It could be called Senior Survivor.
For 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
But just having, that sort of experience, that would be very cool because, 19 and 20-year-olds have a completely different way of playing. So that would be fascinating. Anyway, wrap it up. Everyone wants to go home.
Yes, we all do want to go home. But thank you all so much, Vee and Drew, for coming on. You guys have got so much amazing knowledge of US Survivor. I'm so grateful we can do this podcast together. Anything you guys want to quickly plug just while we're here?
Well, Drew and I get together every week, not last week, unfortunately, but every week to have a really quick, compared to this, 15-minute chat about top moments from the current season of US Survivor. So you can check back on our own vids. We're going to talk in a sec about this week's episode and maybe that we've gone over time. But so check them out if you're watching the current season and share your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah. And how about you, Drew? Anything you'd like to quickly play?
Nope, same thing.
Awesome. Well, if you are new to the channel, smash that subscribe button for some cheeky, naughty time, especially with that cheeky little winky face. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at Mucky Hope Productions. I'm going around doing a whole bunch of really cool, fun collabs with many other content creators here in New Zealand. So make sure you check it all out. Thank you. Sorry, my brain just died for like 3 seconds. Thank you. So happy I got to see you guys live. Mucky, keep up the good work. Subscribe. Thank you, Dolores. You're an absolute legend. I appreciate you so much for following our content and for liking, commenting as you go. Pre-recorded.
Yeah, I added that because Danica asked if it's live or pre-recorded. Drew and I pre-record, so you won't miss out on anything. Just check next time you get a moment. Check the YouTube and you'll see us there.
Oh, I think this is pre-recorded. It's like, what? Am I living in a new dimension? Oh my gosh. Yeah, thanks for the video, fun tenure. We love having you, Gabe, and I'll be on Thursday night to do the next coverage of Australian Survivor, Brains versus Brawn 2. But until next time, everyone, ka kite anō. I'm your host, Mucky Hope. This is Vee and Drew, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy, guys. Bye.